All right, so today we got Vince Visco from Axial Medical. This is a company that I know personally. I've worked there for a long time. I still work there now a couple days a week. So it's a great place for you to understand, and it's a great guy to talk to that you can understand what we do in our industry. So what do you do at Axial? Like, what's the background? Like, kind of what goes on at the company?
So we're a contract manufacturer of medical implants. So we're not design responsible for anything, but our customers, some of the ones you might know, Johnson & Johnson, there's a big shop. I don't know if you guys visit Globus. They're one of our largest customers. We got started with them when they got started. They'll have engineers, design team that comes up with the design for an implant. They'll send us those designs, 3D models, 2D blueprints, and they'll basically say, Vin, here's the design, how much for a part, and how long until we get them. From there, we collaborate as a team, come up with some pricing, what it's going to take to make the part, how we're going to fixture it, how we're going to hold it, how we're going to approach everything, and we get them a number, and that's how it all goes from there.
Okay, so you're working with other companies that are like kind of selling the implants and stuff like that to the surgeons and all that stuff.
Correct. Yeah. So our customers ultimately are hospital surgeon facing. So the parts that we make end up in surgeons' hands, in people's bodies for life.
Okay. So what are you looking for when you're hiring like new employees? Like, what's the expectations for like students? Maybe like co-op. Start with co-op. Like, what's the expectations?
So we know going in that they're new into the industry. They only know what you've taught them, which is a great foundation. But really, like what we're looking for is a work ethic. Like, as simple as it sounds. I know it's basic, and you might hear that all the time, but basics are the fundamentals, and you can't build if you don't have that. So, like, we're here to teach people about machining medical implants specifically, which is its own complexities. We're not really here to instill work ethic in people. So if we know that someone's engaged, right, they're asking the right questions, they're taking notes, they're staying productive, they're looking to help other people out when they have downtime, like, that's the kind of person that's going to excel. If they do that little things, those are the types of people that guys like you, like veterans, are going to want to pass their knowledge on to. That's really what we're looking for out of co-ops and young students, just that work ethic. That's
funny. You're the second company that's told me like basically the same thing. So
yeah,
it just shows that everyone all around, that's kind of really the first skill that you need is like the effort part of it and that part.
Yeah, it's a life skill, man.
Yeah. So like, so you have a lot of former graduates from this program working there, right? Like, what do you got, 5, 6?
I lost count. They're all doing amazing things too.
And so, like, what are some of the former BCTH grads doing there?
Name names or
yeah, you can name names. It's fine.
Right. So number one, Sarah Russo. She wasn't part of your program, but she came from the school. She runs and programs our CMM. I mean, essentially, she's like second in command in our quality department right now. She's a complete killer. Actually, she was on her first conference call with customers the other day and just did like an amazing job. So now she's taken her a couple of years, but she's now speaking to customers directly.
That's awesome.
Runs programs at CMM, and she assists all the guys on the floor with things at theoretical intersections, some of the more complex stuff that you probably don't get into at shop right now. But some of the more complex things that you really can't check without a CMM, she really supports these guys on the floor. So she's doing an incredible job. And the full gamut, right? We got Jordan Zavala. He started in the Swiss department. We needed a leader in our laser marking area and 3D printing, and he's taken that whole entire department. He's running the entire department. He's doing an incredible job. It's like super organized, and because he has a foundation in machining, like, he's great for printing 3D fixtures. He's got a production mind, so he knows throughputs. He's super organized. Like I said, he's great.
And he kind of like pushed you towards like getting the 3D printer and stuff like that, right?
He did. Yeah. Like, we were talking about it, and I was, and having Jordan and having his base and kind of what you taught him, it made me more confident in getting a 3D printer, because if you don't understand basics, the 3D printer is going to be useless. So I know I had a champion behind that printer, and now that investment makes sense. I mean, we spent 6 figures on the printer, and he's doing a great job with it.
Yeah.
Will Santa, like these are all different paths that are all coming from the same school that all these guys are doing. Will Santa's running our Mazak department right now. He's got 3 machines. They're $500,000 each. He's got an employee underneath him. He's responsible for all the setups. Okay, he's responsible for all the setups. He's responsible for all the programming. He's responsible for training employees, sticking to his schedule. I mean, the kid's he's a killer right now. So
and he graduated like 3 or 4 years ago. He's only been out in the industry for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and he's full 5-axis programming, like complete killer. And then we got Mike Burns, who's like quickly risen to second in command behind Din, who taught you learned alongside Din back in the day. You know how good he is, and he's doing a great job in setups on the milling department. So Burns is his mind out there is really good in terms of setting up on the machines. He manages like his workload really efficiently. He's got great communication skills. Like as soon as he sees a problem, he's raising his hand.
Yeah.
First people are like kind of not used to that because not all people in our industry are necessarily outgoing,
right?
But it's a huge help to have for Mike to say, "Hey, Vin, listen, I'm running 6 machines today. I can do it, but if you give me help, we're going to be a lot perfect, Mike. You'll be a lot more productive." You're right.
Right.
So he's doing all these kids are killers.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm every time I go in there, I see them all doing their different things. I'm like, God, this is like crazy. So, like, what does a typical workday look like in there for, like a co-op student? Like, what would they be doing in there during a typical day?
First, you got to get to know the kid, right? He or she, you got to kind of get to know their work ethic, where they're at. But it's a variety of things. It's going to go from running a machine to helping out in inspection, whether that's inspection on the floor, helping out with in process. If you got to go to quality to help learn, because some of the inspections we do are actually pretty complex. So it's best. What I've been doing lately is any new employee, regardless of experience, I just put them in the quality room for at least until I see how much they know. So I put them in the quality room. Now they know how to check parts. Now they're an asset on the floor. Now some of these higher level guys, they can check parts for them, and these guys can keep the machines moving.
Yeah, that's a great way to run it too. By the way, I like how you're doing that now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So that's the fun stuff, I would say, like the stuff that you're going to school for that. But there's also the boring, hard work, dirty work, right? You got to sweep floors sometimes. You got to divert parts, wipe down machines. And that kind of goes back to work ethic, right? Like if you aren't, those are all like essential skills that build the foundation of employees here. And if they're too good or they're above the burning or cleaning or sweeping, they're just not going to work at Axial. They might work somewhere else, but they just don't fit our mold. So while we know sweeping floors isn't like necessarily the most glorious work, but it's what has to be done. And if you aren't willing to do what has to be done, people in our industry are just not going to teach them. So
yeah, I mean, really, I still believe in that. When I go in there and I'm running machines at night, I clean my machine off, wipe it down. So that's something that I always stuck with. So
it says a lot about a person, right? So to ultimately answer your question, a wide variety from cleaning machines, inspecting parts to running a machine. They'll get a full picture here. So
like, let's say you get a co-op kid, you like them, you hire them for full time.
Yep.
Let's say like a year. What is your expectation or like your goals for them like a year from after they get started?
So I always say this, like with any new employee too, I will never, ever set a ceiling on anybody. And I will partner you with the best people we have here to take you as far as you can go. The speed varies. We just talked about Will Santa. He's running a department with $2 million of equipment in it, and he's got people underneath him. Right. That kid, he's a racehorse.
Right.
And there's other people who don't advance that fast, and that doesn't matter. It's not a competition. You know what I mean? I just want to make sure that I'm setting up everyone for success. So for that first year, it's about, all right, let's make sure they understand how to do this paperwork. That's like day one. Let's make sure that they can inspect parts. They can fill out our paperwork properly, right? Then we usually partner them with someone. Din is one of the guys we partner with, people with pretty regularly. His counterparts are on the Swiss too. And that mentor kind of leads them through the process. Like, okay, hey, this he's got the burning down. He's got inspecting down. Now he has the ability to raise his hand and say, or her hand and say, I have a bad part.
Right.
I know it's bad. I don't know what's wrong. show me. And then you go to
Right.
that person and they can say, hey, look, check this offset. You know what I mean?
And that kind of like just shows you like, all right, now we can start moving you up. You're starting to realize it. So really the answer to that, I guess, is, you go as far as you let yourself go. So
exactly. So
okay.
someone could be changing tools in 2 weeks, or someone
Right.
could be changing tools in 3 months.
Right.
It just, a lot of these kids, like Will Santa's going home and he's doing homework at home. He's doing it at home. He's watching YouTube videos. He's playing with Mastercam.
Right.
Other people don't do that, and it's just about what they put into it.
Right. So like over, let's say the past like 10, 20 years, how has like your company evolved? Like how has it changed? What kind of new things are you doing to stay with the times?
Well, we do a lot. And we do a lot of things different than our competitors. We started as VizTech, so that's where we're at. That was 2010. We sold the company. We started Axial in 2014, and I mean, dude, even 2 years ago, Axial doesn't look the same as what it looks like today. We are very, very involved in automation. And when any new company starts, I was taking whatever jobs we could get just to get it off the floor.
Right.
And we've since shifted to a very much a production house. We were doing, I mean, you were there. We were doing 10-piece runs, 15. If we got a 50-piece run, it was a great job.
Right.
Now we don't even touch anything less than 250 pieces.
Right.
We're having runs as high as 250,000 pieces, like high volume. So in order to keep up with that, it's gotten into a lot of automation and trimming fat from processes, because I call it the Amazon effect. Everybody thinks that parts can come next day.
Right.
Place a PO, the parts are there the next day. They don't care how it gets made. They don't care about the work that everyone here is putting into it and how hard it truly is. So it's been we're getting really heavy into custom tooling, form cutters, robots everywhere, and really focusing on our schedules and just setting customer expectations and trimming fat with custom tooling, high efficiency milling, all kinds of creative tool paths, things like that.
And then like as far as like you said, robots. So as far as the robots, right, that's not technically like machining, but it's something that I'm looking to get into, because I see you're the second company I talked to, and both companies mentioned and said that they're using robots. Now,
yep.
I understand when you originally buy them, the engineers come in and train you on them. But then after that, the machinists are the ones that are setting them up and programming them, correct?
Exactly.
So that's like definitely something else that I'm looking to get into and trying to bring in here and kind of moving along with that to stay with what the industry is doing.
Oh, yeah. If you do that, man, it's a great idea.
Yeah. So like another thing that I always talk about, I don't ever really talk about like the dollar per hour, stuff like that. That's not something that I really get into too much. But like, did you guys start like retirement plans, anything like that for like, the employees for their future?
Yeah, we do a bunch of things. We have a 401k. We have a match in that 401k. And we also do a bonus structure that's a little bit different than most people, and it's a heavy bonus. And it depends on what you do here, right? The top guys get top dollar, and the beginning guys are just starting out, and they're building that on their way to top dollar. It's based on profitability. We have like a little formula that we do, but that accounts for thousands of dollars per year for some of these guys. And the 401k, we started that this year. So 2020 is our first year with the 401k.
That's awesome. So last question I got for you, like, do you have any advice, anything that you want to give like some of these students, whether they're freshmen that have no idea what this is, or even my regular students that I have in here?
Yeah, I mean, listen to you. Like as crazy as, I mean, seriously, dude, you live this life. Like they need to know what an asset you are. You're a real world teacher, right? Like you're living this and teaching it. You know exactly what needs to be done to be successful in the trade. And these kids should be respecting what you say and taking what you say very seriously and taking it to heart. You're setting them up for success. So if they're not paying attention, if they don't want to listen to you, like, that's cool, but just know that I'm literally giving you the formula for success.
So I appreciate that answer.
Yeah, it's true, dude. I'm serious.
So I lied. Maybe one more question.
Gotcha.
Now you guys are getting like so big, right, and
Yep.
blowing up and this and that. What does it look like in the future? Let's say like you envision hiring a lot more students, right, and more and keeping that going.
We're gonna have a couple buildings, man. This isn't. I'm
Right.
not stopping with one building. I'm either going next door, or I'm going across the street, and we're gonna split it. We're gonna have Axial Swiss, an Axial Mill, and we're gonna compete. And who's the best? And it'll be and if we win, everybody's winning. So yeah, I mean, I envision us to continue to grow. I have no plans of stopping growth. We've been growing really, really fast, and it's because of the team. Like that's the biggest difference, man. I know we talked about Vistech briefly. The biggest difference between Vistech and Axial, successful companies and not successful companies, is if people get out of touch with what got them there, right? We all work together as a cohesive unit. I couldn't sell the work that I'm selling if I didn't have Din. Din couldn't set up the jobs he's setting up if he didn't have Sanjo. It's a whole crew, man. Like, so as long as we stick to who we are, we hire the right people, we're going to continue to grow. So the sky's the limit.
All right, man. Well, I really appreciate your time. I thank you for coming in and doing this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. One other thing, I can't stress enough that you asked for advice. The kids got to speak up when they're at a place. Do not be afraid. Don't be timid. They got to realize that they themselves, they might not be outgoing. They might not be people. Just put yourself just a little bit outside of your comfort zone. And every time you do that, you're going to be a little bit more comfortable outside your comfort zone. And then these guys, when you ask them questions, they're going to want to teach you.
Right.
But they might not approach you. You got to be the new co-ops have to be the one to initiate the conversation. They got to show that they want to learn. That's my other piece of advice.
Totally agree with that one. So, but yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, Chuck.